Thank you for attending NSF ANSI's 455-4 Good Manufacturing Practices for Over-the-Counter Drug Certification Introduction webinar. Today we're going to discuss the OTC GMP program and NSF services. In our agenda today, we're going to talk about the background for 455, the GMP standards, certification process, resources, as well how to submit questions and answers. NSF has celebrated its 75th year anniversary this year, and we are proud to be the global leader in public health and safety. Through its dietary supplements, GMP registration, product certification, and surface support programs, NSF leads the industry in providing quality, effective third-party certification services. Facilities that proudly bear the NSF mark provide assurance that they are dedicated to upholding the highest quality standards in manufacturing, packaging, or distribution. NSF partners with stakeholders to provide solutions to everyday challenges within the health industry. There are several key challenges presented to NSF from our stakeholders. For retailers, on the left, they had unique challenges that they're unable to review audit results amongst different certification bodies, and GMP audits were not mitigating their supplier risk. On the right-hand side, manufacturers also had unique challenges with audit fatigue and having different requirements for retailers. What was found in common between the retailers and the manufacturers were the inconsistency between audits and auditors, as well as the interpretation of standards. Why was the 455 standards created? NSF focused its efforts to address the most common industry key challenges. And the key challenge, the first one, was inconsistency between audits and auditors, as well as the interpretation of the GMP requirements and guidelines. Our goal at NSF is to ensure those challenges were met with a solution to standardize the industry while providing continual improvement for supply chain and good manufacturing practices. NSF's Joint Committee of cross-functional members was established with multiple stakeholders from the industry to create the standard. The standard creation includes industry regulation, retailer requirements, industry best practices, and the ISO 9001-2015 guidelines. Next, we're going to discuss the GMP standards. The GMP standards were the first key challenge that was addressed. The NSF Standard Writing Division spearheaded the creation of these standards, meeting the challenges of having consistency for the dietary supplement, cosmetic, and OTC stakeholders. In 2018, 3 NSF standards were approved by ANSI and published. NSF ANSI 455-2, Good Manufacturing Practices for Dietary Supplements, NSF ANSI 455-3, Good Manufacturing Practices for Cosmetics, and NSF ANSI 455-4, Good Manufacturing Practices for Over-the-Counter Drugs. Today, we're going to be focusing on the over-the-counter drug standards. The GMP Standards Sections that you see here are based on an ISO 9001-2015 structure. You'll have general, normative references, definitions, audit requirements, audit process, and informative annex. And this is how the certification body will handle appeals, complaints, advertising, as well as confidentiality. But for today, for the sake of time, we'll be focusing on the audit requirements, which are the GMP requirements manufacturers must meet, and the audit process. How will the audit process work? The GMP standards sections for audit requirements include context of organization, leadership and commitment, organizational roles, responsibilities, and authorities, planning, support, operations, performance evaluation, and improvement. The GMP standards sections for the audit process are found in Section 5 of the NSF ANSI 455 standard. You will see in the audit process, you will have an audit process introduction, audit and certification process outline, audit preparation, audit planning, on-site audit, report, grading, non-conformances and corrective actions, and post-audit activities. The 455 Standards Champion. The Global Retailer and Manufacturer Alliance, GRMA, is a global nonprofit with members of retailers, manufacturers, trade associations, public health and safety organizations, and certification bodies. The alliance was formed to develop an auditing scheme that utilized a consensus-based quality system standard for good manufacturing practices through the American Standards Institute process in several non-food related industries. GRMA accepts NSF ANSI's 455 GMP standards as a scheme owner. The second challenge was addressed by this independent organization, this nonprofit, which is GRMA. The GRMA addressed stakeholders' concerns for auditor and audit inconsistency as a scheme owner. Their goal is to ensure and provide a platform where all certification body members, retailers, and manufacturers will receive consistent training in calibration and implementation of audit criteria based on ISO 17065. GRMA is a champion of auditing against the NSF 455 GMP standards for dietary supplement, cosmetics, and OTC because it fits with their goals and missions of strengthening safety, quality, and trust throughout the supply chain, ensuring consistency and proper training for auditors, reducing the number of audits and financial costs associated with audits, combining regulatory requirements, industry best practices, and retailer requirements, as well as having all certification bodies be able to certify against the same standard. Next in our agenda, we'll be talking about the certification process. The certification process will go over the audit cycle, pre-audit process, and the post-audit process. This is a high level of the certification process overview. Starting to your left, everything in green is a client responsibility. Everything in blue is NSF's responsibility. According to the standard NSF ANSI 455-4 OTC drugs, a self-assessment shall be performed to see if clients comply with the standards before applying to their certification body. Then you plan your audit and it's executed. The audit report is completed. The CB management review and current CGMP rating assigned. Corrective actions, if applicable, if non-conformances are addressed. Then it goes to the certification decision. Then, if upon successful completion, a certificate will be issued. And last but not least, recertification. Here's the audit cycle. The audit cycle starts from your left from certification audit. If you obtain a grades of A and B, you'll go directly to a 12-month certification audit, which is called the recertification audit. Grades A and B may be required to monitor audit for nonconformances not addressed during the previous audit. If you obtain a grade of a C, you will have a monitoring audit within 6 months from the initial audit, which is your certification audit. And then following the completion of your monitoring audit, a recertification audit will be conducted 6 months after your monitoring audit. If you have a grade D, then that is considered a failure. So the certification audit will cover the entire applicable standard. The frequency of a certificate audit is initial and the minimum of annually. You receive a visit confirmation and an agenda at a minimum 1 week prior to the audit. Average audit durations are 3 days, but it may depend on the size and the facility. Grade is assigned upon the release of an audit report. The monitoring audit. The monitoring audit is required for a grade of a C, and it will be conducted 6 months after your certification audit, and upon successful completion, you will receive your certificate. The monitoring audit is focused on verifying corrective actions cited during the previous audit. The audit duration average is 1 day, but it may be more due to the size, facility, and complexity of your cars. The grade is not assigned at the audit. A grade of a C will remain because there is no changing in grade. A grade of A and B may be required a monitoring audit due to failure of closing out repeat nonconformances from the previous audit. Certification audit failure. It's required for companies that receive a grade of a D. All nonconformances shall be addressed. Corrective action plans shall be submitted and approved by NSF before requesting a new audit. Facilities will receive a full certification audit, and the facility shall schedule this full certification audit 6 months after their failure or their last audit. Recertification audit is a certification audit that will cover applicable standards. It is performed 12 months after the initial audit or the certification audit, and you will receive a visit confirmation and agenda a minimum of 1 week prior to the audit. The average duration is 3 days, but it also depends on the size of the facility. Grade is assigned upon release of the audit report. Grades A and B may require a monitoring audit for failure to close out nonconformances due to the previous audit. Next, the pre-audit process. A pre-audit assessment can be conducted by your organization or a third-party certification body to ensure you meet the NSF ANSI 455 standard. Next will be the application. The application will require information about your organization to determine the scope of the audit, duration, and other pertinent information to ensure NSF can perform your audit. Audit visit prep. There will be several ways to prepare for the NSF ANSI 455 audit. At a minimum, you'll receive your agenda 1 week prior to the audit. Remember to flag your email. You may receive this request way in advance to your audit. During the application period, you set a time and date which the audit will be conducted. And a great way to ensure production is the scope that is being manufactured is by communicating this to your senior leadership and your audit team. The organization's preparation and giving the auditor access to the entire facility will make a smoother transition and execution of the audit. The audit process. The audit process starts with the opening meeting. The opening meeting shall be attended by senior leadership or a delegate, audit support staff that may be also present during the opening meeting. The goals of the opening meeting is to review the agenda, confirm the scope, and review classifications of finding definitions. The next is the facility tour. The auditor must have full access to the facility and will tour the facility to inspect the premises and processes. It will be from the beginning to receipt all the way to the completion, also conducting a facility inspection, doing employee interviews, doing documentation review, and a traceability challenge during the audit. During the closing meeting, attendance for senior leadership or delegates are required, as well as the supporting staff that was present during the audit. All nonconformances will be reviewed verbally, and also the auditor will discuss the post-audit process. Please note, grades will not be available during this time due to the technical review process. You will receive within 10 business days the full audit report as well as the corrective action responses. The audit template. NSF International's audit template will differ from the structure of the NSF ANSI 455 standard. The template is arranged in a quality management system auditing structure in order to have better process and flow during the audit. This allows the auditor and the client to get a complete picture of the health of the system. NSF QMS structure for NSF ANSI 455-4 GMP OTC drugs, as you can see on the left, is the template section. These sections are numeric and alphanumeric, but if you see on the right, which in the title, you will have visit summary, client logistics. This is information about your organization. Then we'll go to administrative and regulatory, quality management, corrective action and preventive action and complaints, supplier qualifications, product safety, facility, production process controls, which include manufacturing, packaging, operations, specifications, product release and returns, and a laboratory section as well. And last but not least, warehouse and distribution. The auditor will also be looking at to see if your company has met the requirements of the NSF certification policies. Each number on the right, NSF ANSI 455 requirement numbers, are on the right, and that's the organization and the order of the structure of the template. The post-audit process. The post-audit process begins with a technical review to ensure the technical accuracy of the report and compliance to the standard, and ensuring that there's a proper classification of nonconformances. Once the technical review will be completed, you will receive final documentation of from the technical team, including your grade, and this report will be issued 10 business days from the completion of the audit. Clients submit corrective actions during the corrective action review. All nonconformances corrective action plans must be submitted within 10 business days of the receipt of the CAR. NSF reviews and submits corrective actions within 5 business days of that receipt. Last but not least is the certification. NSF issues a certificate upon successful completion of all the requirements. And the requirements include CAR approval as well as grades and NSF policies. Last but not least, if you are successfully certificated by NSF under ANSI 455-4 GMP for OTC drugs, you will also be listed on nsf.org. So next is the grading criteria. The grading criteria for OTC differs from the rest of the standards that we have developed. It is unique. If for a grade of an A, you have to have less or equal to 6 minors. For a B, if you obtain 1 major and less or equal to 6 minors. Or for a B, you could have 7 to 12 minors to obtain a grade of a B. For a grade of a C, you will obtain 1 major, 7 to 12 minors. You will also receive a grade of a C if you have 13 to 18 minors. For a grade of a D, you will have 1 equal to or greater critical, 2 majors equal to or greater to majors, or 1 major and 13 equal 13 or greater to 13 minors. And for a grade of a D, it will be 19 or more minors. In the post-audit process, you will be using NSF Connect, which is a secure online portal through where you can submit your CAR responses, check and pay invoices, access applicable NSF policy standards and requirements documents, view your audit report as well as your CAR report, and the entire history of the audit. Your NSF account manager also can ensure that you have access to anything that you need or any questions that you may have. The post-audit process with NSF Connect and your corrective actions. There are some definitions that we want you to be familiar with the corrective action responses for the nonconformances. If nonconformances are not completed upon the next audit at your facility, failure to do so will result in your NSF listing being jeopardized. There are some corrective action responses categories that are followed, which are pending. This means that no corrective action has been submitted in NSF Connect by you, the client. Additional information or corrective actions submitted, but however are deemed insufficient and need more information, and there may be more supporting documents that will need to be submitted. Rejected. The corrective action submitted is not acceptable, and a revision for your corrective action must be resubmitted. Approved. NSF accepts the plan and procedure and will verify compliance at the next audit. The post-audit process. If you see in the blue is the client's responsibility. The green is, the blue is NSF responsibility. The green is the client responsibilities. From left to right, you perform the audit, conduct a report technical review. The grade issuance is issued with your report and corrective action report if applicable, and that will happen 10 business days. These days are calculated from the last day of the audit. Then in green, the client, if corrective actions are required, you must submit them within 10 business days of receipt of your CAR report. Any overdue CAR shall result in suspension or denial of certification. After NSF receives your submitted CARs, it will review your CARs within 5 business days. There are several options. You could reject or approve. If we reject the CAR or ask for additional information, it would go to a rework, and you will have 5 business days to complete that information. Submit your CARs to NSF Connect, and the CAR reviewer will review your CAR as well. Once your CAR is approved, it would go to the Receive GMP Certification for the cert decision. Upon successful completion of corrective actions, NSF policies, and the grade. So if you have a grade of A, you will receive a certification audit every 12 months as well as a grade B. If you receive a grade C, you have 6 months from the certification audit, and for an audit grade D, it's to be determined. After NSF has verified that the facility has completed its completeness and effectiveness of its corrective action, a full certification audit is required. And this is all based upon CAR approval. The post-audit deliverables from NSF. After each audit, you will receive an audit report within 10 business days and the card report immediately following that. After card closures, you will receive a card notification that all your corrective actions are closed. If applicable, due to the grade and completion of cards, you will receive a certificate that will be valid for 12 months, and you will be publicly listed on NSF Connect. Once you become a certified client, you have an opportunity to advertise with the NSF GMP Marks. These GMP Marks can be used on advertising. However, it cannot be used on any product. You could refer to NSF certification policies for more information or contact your NSF account representative for the marketing guides on how to use these marks upon successful completion and certification. The benefits of 455 are retailer accepted standards. Retailers have participated in the creation of these standards and approve and look forward to seeing more audits conducted under 455. You have less audits per year. It also improves your continual improvement of your GMP systems. There's one single audit scheme and industry GMP standards for dietary supplement, cosmetics, and now OTC. You can use the certification mark upon successful completion, indicating your quality commitment. And these are public standards, and they are updated by joint committee members. And you also can become a joint committee member as an observer, as a voter, or as an influencer. And you will also have a dedicated NSF representative helping you along the way. There are some resources that we're going to be discussing that could help you grow in the certification program for your NSF offerings. You have NSF ANSI's 455 certification policies. You have NSF ANSI's 455 standards. You have NSF ANSI 455 audit requirements guidelines, which is the interpretation and understanding of the standard. You have NSF ANSI 455-1, terminology for the portfolio standards, the information guide, and a dedicated account manager. NSF offers other services. As we spoke about in previous slides, we have the NSF Standards Writing Group, who writes standards to promote food, drinking water, indoor dietary supplement, consumer products, and environmental safety standards. We have state-of-the-art testing labs that test these products under these standards and others as well. We have certification that's certifying products to these standards. Plus, for dietary supplements, we have NSF 173 and Certified for Sport 306. We also conduct auditing for safety audits for the food, water, and consumer good industries. And separate from certification is our consulting and training division. So consulting provides a strategic technical consulting for dietary supplement, pharmaceuticals, medical device, and beverage industries. And they also conduct training for the same industries and other GMP and related information for your organization. So how do you submit your questions and answers and to receive answers? You can contact us at 455certification@nsf.org or call the numbers on your screen. We'd like to thank you for your time for this presentation and have a lovely and pleasant day.